Welcome to church today. Today being Mother's Day. It's an exciting day. It's a warm, welcoming day in that regard, not in the weather regard. Thank you for joining with us and coming this morning. We do pray that perhaps a few people might still be on the road coming. This morning is intended to be an all-in service. It's maybe not going to make a huge difference at this rate because there's no young enough kids to have it any different, but I do assume my family are coming. And considering we've got photos after the service for anyone who would like, that's why I'm dressed up as nice as I am today. There's the rare occasion on a Sunday morning I might dress up like this, but I thought, you know what, if we're going to have some family photos together. So hopefully they turn up looking nice as well. Let's just watch this video.
Just how it goes. Just how it goes. Just how it goes. Just how it goes. She knows everything I do. Yeah, and that's the source of all my youth. Yeah, I know everything she'll say. Yeah, she'll say everything's okay. I got a fever. I know I receive her. Catching everything she throws. That's just how it goes. 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 Just how it.
Here at NewDay Church, this isn't just Mother's Day, but it is for all those in our lives that we find to be caring, who may have spent time chasing after us, those who have looked out for us, those who have nurtured us, those who have prayed for us, those who have only wanted the best for us. And so this morning we do celebrate all those mums, to-be mums, and all those who have been motherly types in our life. So, if you weren't already prepared, just a heads up, we've got a friend of mine, Phil, who's taking photos after the service in the foyer. And so you don't have to fit into the mother category. You don't have to have your son or your daughter here with you for the photo. If you want to be in some photos with some friends or with your broader family perhaps, of course, if you're a mum and you've got some people here that you want to take a photo with, please, straight after the service, I want to encourage you, head out into the foyer. There'll be a spot. Phil will be just waiting, ready to take your photo. He loves taking photos. And so just be ready. I want to encourage you, if you can, if you're really desperate for a coffee, go order your coffee, go have a photo, and then come back, okay? Because we want to honour his time well as well. Enjoy. With the photos, we'll get those photos sent to us here at the church, and then Lance will distribute them out to those people who are in the photos, okay? So that's how that will work. Once we get them, we'll send them out. A couple of other notices for you to know about. Of course, we've got the Illawarra Gathered Worship Night next Sunday at 5 o'clock. So I want to encourage you, come along to it. It is a worship space and a worship service, okay? So there's no long sermons. There's no hopefully there's not long sermons. There are 3 pastors that are supposed to say something at some point, so hopefully that's limited. But we want to encourage you. It's a one-off. It's a different space. I want to encourage you to come along and worship alongside others that you wouldn't usually get to. And Prayer Tuesday, 7:30 here at the church. We want to encourage you to come along. what an encouragement it was 2 weeks ago. As I know, I didn't get to it because I had a meeting to be a part of, but some other people who were able to go along to that. And we saw some answered prayer at Playgroup that very next Friday. And so I want to encourage you, please consider it if you get the opportunity, if you can, if you have the time, and if you can carve out the time, come along for prayer at 7:30 on Tuesday. The last announcement I want to share with you this morning, just before we get into some other stuff, is that just following on from a journey that I've been having with a friend of mine, Tammy Tolman, and by retrospect with Central Church, we're looking forward to in the future upcoming, starting from the 11th of June, where for them as a church, a time and a season that they're in, they're going to be coming along and sharing in fellowship as we worship together fortnightly for a time, where it's going to serve them well. We can serve them well with that. This will be a ministry for them, and we do pray that God will do something in us as we get to have the privilege of having another group come and join in with us. And so in some regard, we all of a sudden get a chance to not just be two different churches, but we can just appreciate actually what God does in the unity of the bigger church. So from the 11th of June, they're going to be meeting with us fortnightly, just in our worship service and our fellowship. Hello. So it'd be great just to look forward to that. And I want to encourage you to be praying and celebrating God in the work that He's got prepared to do in advance in those spaces. Huh? Am I the mother? Hello, Matilda. So this morning is a little bit different because it is an all-in service. So we're going to start talking about a few things. But I want to prepare you that in your areas, I'm going to ask some questions which I would like you to, maybe you can figure out pretty soon who you're going to talk about those questions with. Okay? And then somebody, when I ask, is going to need to call out the best answer you've got from your talking, okay? Because we've got some funny questions today, some tricky questions, some confusing questions. And you know what? I don't have it all. I don't have enough. But maybe some people around you might be able to come up with some great ideas to add to the mix, okay? So, we've also got a few activities. So, we'll wait and see what we've got. So, first of all, great riches. If you think about something that's worth a whole lot, that people would want and chase after and seek in their life, like something that's worth a lot, what comes to your mind? And just to make it easy, imagine there's something of great worth in here. Don't let the exterior fool you, okay? The rugged suitcase, maybe dusty and a little tattered. If I had something that was worth like heaps, just great riches in here, what could it be, right? So that's the first question I've got for you. So with the people around you, I want you to talk, what could you imagine to be something that's like great riches, worth a whole lot, okay? Ask somebody around you, have a little bit of talk, and then I just want one answer from each spot, okay? What could be worth a whole lot? Okay, I'm going to get the ball rolling. I've already heard over here, Easter eggs. Easter eggs. Now that's an easy answer because here, if you're not usually a part of NewDay Church, we had over 9,000 Easter eggs here at the church before Easter, okay? So if we're thinking great riches, I don't think they would fit in here, Reuben. I don't think those 9,000 eggs would fit in here. It would be overflowing. Great riches, yeah, okay. A couple of other answers that people had. Bible. Oh, gee, can you imagine if a Bible actually fitted that whole suitcase? I'll get you to carry it, I think. Hang it. Cross. Rich in a lot of love. There's the holy answer. Good answer, though. It's a good answer. Anything else that you go, oh, yeah, that would be worth a lot? Well, just you wait, right? Halfway through, we're going to open this up. Oh, there's going to be dancing. There's going to be all sorts of stuff going on. Diamonds? Who's talking about Spirit of the Lord when you could have diamonds? Felix? Vin said cash, did he? Vin said cash. Gold bars. Yeah, if we're going to talk cash, let's go gold bars. Cash might be easy to carry, though. Dies chocolates. Anybody else? A small child. Worth a lot if they haven't been in there for too long. Robin, did you have another one? Oh, yeah. Common sense. Worth a lot. Not a lot of people got it. That's how much it's worth. You know, the really awesome thing is, right, if we think about these different things, the riches that God has. Do you want me to open it up? I'm seeing a few eyes. I'm not looking at you, Dave. I'm looking behind you. Okay, I'm looking at. Do you guys want to see what's in here? You want to see what's in here? Oh, I bet nothing's going to jump out. I promise. Oh, no. Actually, nearly lost the whole thing. This is just nothing. You can't see anything in there, right? It's because God's riches is so much more than what we could imagine. Like, we can't really put anything in there because what does God need? Right? We think about riches as like, oh, it'd be so good to have that because then, but what does God need? Let me show you a verse on the screen, okay? I don't think I'm going to have to put this down because it's going to be a liability. Something's going to go wrong. Have a look at this verse, okay? And I'm going to read it to you. And then I'm going to ask you this question of what doesn't God need? So, whoopah. Maybe, maybe not. No bingo? There's nothing else? That's right. Let me read it to you. It's from Psalm 50, okay? And this is what God says. I have no need of a bull from your stall or of goats from your pens, for every animal of the forest is mine, and the cattle on 1,000 hills. I know every bird in the mountains, and the insects in the fields are mine. So I could say some stuff right now, but I'm not going to. I just want to ask the question, if we read a verse like that, what doesn't God need? He doesn't need sacrifices. Once upon a time, they used to get the animal and they'd every so often have to go and take it and slaughter the animal. And great, so he doesn't need sacrifices. I want you to have a chat in your groups where you are. What else doesn't God need? Okay? What else doesn't he need? Have a chat with the people around you. Does anyone have any thoughts? What doesn't God need? Physical riches? Brendan? A wife. God doesn't need us. Any other thoughts? What doesn't God need? Michael, what do you reckon? So he doesn't need anything, but he has created everything with a purpose. Yeah. This is good because even just through these questions, we're going to slowly unpack and understand some truths that might help us with a bit of a paradox today. Reuben, what doesn't God need? Words. Doesn't need words. It's true though. Doesn't need rejection. I was going to quickly say, none of us do, but sometimes we do. So, if God doesn't need any of these things, because if you think about it, like if this is his riches, like what does he doesn't actually need anything, so it's a bit empty. We might fill it with lots of different things, but he doesn't need anything. The really tough question that we're trying to figure out today is, don't need laughter, but it's really enjoyable. What do we do with a God who needs nothing but asks for everything? What kind of a God is that? If he doesn't need anything, but he still asks a lot of us. With the people around you, you can ask the little ones as well. What sort of things does God ask for? I think we've established that he maybe doesn't need anything. What does he actually ask for, though? Have a chat. How do people go? What does God ask for? He asks for faith. Yeah? Pardon? He asks for our life. Relationships. Let me just quickly go back to these. We've got love. Relationships. What do you mean by relationships, Rob? A relationship with us. Yeah. Is that what you were thinking, Michelle? Yeah. Because then I think also he asks for us to give him our relationships as well, like the people that we have, the people that we love, the people that we journey with. We've got to give them back to him to let go of those things as well. Anything else? Joy, to put him first. Reuben, you had a brilliant answer. God asks for money? I would probably suggest he does ask for money. Not in the way we would put it, like asking for money. But if he asks everything of us, that might play a part in what we're willing to surrender and to give up. Anything else that he asks of us? Obedience. Forgiveness. Does it make you wonder, though, how can God ask for all these things if he doesn't even need them? How does that work? There's a really tough story in the Bible about this stuff, guys. And kids, you might have heard about Abraham before. And sometimes we tell the story and it's a bit like, oh, this is lovely. Oh, yeah. It's actually a really scary story. So this thing of how does God need nothing but ask for everything? We learn about it in a story about a guy called Abraham. And Abraham was the guy that God went to and said, I'm going to choose you to be like the grandpappy of all of the nation that will be Israel. And you're going to be the father. So your kids will have kids who will have kids. And you will be like the head of all of that. And you're going to father this massive nation of people. That's so exciting. Abraham was super old at the time. And it's like, really? How could I've never had a child. How could this be possible? And so he's got this something amazing, this promise from God to do something amazing for his wife, Sarah, who hadn't had a baby, who's like super old. All of a sudden, she gets to have a baby, her very first baby. This is going to be special. This is going to be amazing. Oh, wow. There's all this exciting stuff. Kind of, you could imagine it like all these riches that God has given to Abraham in this promise and in this story. This is what you're going to get. Now, a little bit later in Abraham's story, though, we read this. And this is what God asks Abraham to do. This is the scary part for this morning, okay? It says in Genesis chapter 22, verse 2, then God said, take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, just in case you weren't sure which of your only sons it was, and go to the region of Moriah, sacrifice him as a burnt offering on a mountain. I will show you. Sacrifice your only son. I don't want to do that. And if God doesn't need anything, how could he ask someone like to and if we're not sure about sacrifice, we're talking end his life? How could, if God doesn't need anything, how could God possibly ask him to do something crazy like that? And not only that, but if you think about the riches, God has promised Abraham, I'm going to let you be the father of a huge nation. You're going to have kids. You weren't expecting it, but you're going to have a son. You've got a son now. This is amazing. This is an amazing value and riches. Oh, the hopes and the dreams and the joy and now he's going to take it away from them? Oh, it's really hard to get. Now, the really good news is that as Abraham is willing to do that, and he takes him up to the mountain, and he goes to collect some wood to sacrifice Isaac with, God shows him a lamb or a goat in the bushes to use instead. Why would God ask for something if he doesn't need anything? Because that's what we've got in this story. Why does God ask for Isaac to be sacrificed if God doesn't need anything at all? That's our hard question. But I want you this morning to ask each other that hard question and see if you can come up with any idea. Why on earth would God ask for that to happen if he doesn't need anything at all? And we'll see what answers people come up with in a couple of minutes. Anyone got any thoughts? It's a tough question. Like, it's not like a test where it's like, oh, who's going to get the right answer, okay? Wendy, what did you guys think? To see if he would listen and to see if he would be loyal to God. It's easy to say now that we know the result. Yeah? Anybody got any other thoughts? Makes you wonder how many times do we face something that we think, how could we? But I think sometimes God goes, actually, I know that this person can handle this. Testing our resolve. Anybody got any other thoughts? Why a God who needs nothing asks for everything? Yeah. To help us grow and allow us to come to our own discoveries. Yeah, absolutely. And I think in all the answers that we're hearing, you know, someone might ask us this question. It's like, how on earth do I answer that? That's really hard to deal with. But we actually perhaps are realizing that God doesn't need anything, but there's plenty that he will do for us. That maybe these things he asks isn't because he needs them, but he asks them because we need it to be asked of us. It takes a lot of faith, this believing in God stuff. Some people don't realize it, but every single day takes faith. We don't even realize it. If you go down to the shops, and you especially at Fig Tree Grove, right? If you're crossing across those pedestrian crossings, it actually takes a little bit of faith to trust that nobody's going to hit you with their car. And some days when you see some of the drivers, it takes a lot more faith than others. That's right. It actually takes a tiny bit of faith that when we walk down the street, we're not going to be struck by lightning. There's actually, there's a chance, right? There's a tiny chance, a minute chance, but we actually live every single day. As soon as we assume or think something won't happen, we're actually putting ourselves in a position of faith. But then God, and we don't think that's much of a leap, but all of a sudden God brings us some opportunities where it's for our sake. All of a sudden when we don't need faith, therefore we don't need God, how is that going to serve us well? If we don't need God, what does that mean for the rest of our life, and what does that mean for the life beyond this life? Again and again, God uses things to grow us in one way or another. But it was mentioned before that he asks for everything. Like, he asks for it all. He wants to be Lord of all. He's a bit of an all or nothing God. Because it's hard, because if we don't give it all, if we only give a bit, then there's less to fall back from. We give him our all. So I've got an activity this morning, which I'm calling all or nothing. I've got a whole heap of pegs here. And I've got some riches of some kind here. Chocolates. Ruben, you find a spot? Got some chocolates. And so if you're willing, and this is anyone, if you're willing to put on as many pegs as you can to your face, then you can have the box of chocolates. All or nothing, okay? So you might be sitting there going, oh yeah, I'll put 5 pegs on my face. No. It's all or nothing. Okay? Actually, I forgot to do this. I should have prepared the picture that I had prepared earlier of pegs on my face. It wasn't this week. It was about 9 years ago. I was on a camp. The things you do for kids. I don't know how many pegs I had in my face, but I know how many tears were coming out of my eyes. You ever sat there and you're going, yeah, I've got flabby face skin. You're perfect for this. So does anyone want to go all or nothing? Okay, maybe there's 3 people that go, okay. Actually, we could bandy together. There's 60 pegs, by the way. 3 of you could go 20 pegs each. All or nothing. Nobody's moving. Nobody at all. No, it's got to be on the face, not on the facial hair. It's got to be on the face. Well, it could still be ears, lips, noses. Or 2 people can. Hey, girls, come. You could come up too, because if these guys are coming up, that's a few less pegs. Because I don't have like more to surprise you with. Be like, there's 60 for you and 60 for you and 60 for you. Okay, so guys. Okay, just so you don't feel like you're the only one, no glasses allowed, just in case. But okay. There we go. There's one. I kind of feel like I'm going to the dentist, though. So
now for the Mother's Day portrait, we're going to be blocking. Might need to put his head in front of mine this time.
To all the gentlemen in the room, I'd like to just point out, real gentlemen here, good on you for coming up so the ladies don't have to. Okay, so guys, I'll have this peg. The rest of these pegs have to go somewhere on your face. It could be ear, it could be nose. You could pull a little bit of eyelid skin. Here you go. All or nothing. Now, I know some people think I'm a kind man. If 3 of them don't go on faces, you're not getting any chocolates. Okay? I'm just stating it. All or nothing. Oh. It doesn't hurt. I'm just going to say, as in right now, at least one doesn't hurt. But it's just darn annoying. I should have picked a better spot. Oh, you got one on. Nice. Ruben wants some pegs. Keep going, guys. Can you get another peg? On your nose. Nice. And you know what? If you see Mum laughing, then I think you definitely have to take a couple and go put them on her face. Let's go. Yeah. Girls, do you want to give some to Luke? You might be able to put them on Luke's face. Oh, look at Daniel. Turn around, Dan. I only just noticed. You look like, I can't remember, from Pirates of the Caribbean, and the guy with the all the tentacle face. Yeah, you're Davy Jones, right there. Gee, it's so much better, Luke, when you put it on other people, isn't it? That's really good. Well, Abigail wants a turn, okay. How are we going? Ooh. No, it's got to be on my face, Reverend. Go on, you can put another one on my face. You want to go on my ear? When we preach on leprosy, we're going to do this activity as well, just so you can see what it looks like. Now, guys, if you've still got a few pegs, I want to encourage you, just go find someone to put it on, okay? Oh, I like you guys are working so well as a team. Would you like to take them off now? We'll count those pegs, so those don't have to go anywhere else. We'll include those pegs. You did such a wonderful job. Is there any more to take off? Oh, on your ear. Oh, we should have taken a photo so you could see what you look like. You did a wonderful job. We're going to include those pegs in our count. And two more. Well, I think those two have to go on you, surely. Okay. How are we going? Have we got them all? Okay, Chris, do you want to turn around? Dan, do you guys just want to look at it? Put your hands together. Well done, everyone. And, I can't complain about my two. Well done, guys. And would you like to be you remember the people who put pegs on their faces? No one else is allowed some, okay? So for the rest of the time, you can, your sister helps, so you can visit her and just visit the rest of the people that got pegs on their faces, and you just keep giving them chocolates, okay? Okay. Yeah. Including me, okay? I reckon from memory I had about 30 to 40 on my face when I did it once. Maybe I'll put the photo in the newsletter. Just so you know I'm not lying. Wouldn't lie. It hurt. I can remember that. Feels so much better when you take them off. Can you imagine how much better it feels when you take those pegs off your face? God is an all or nothing God. And while it might seem like a massive sacrifice to go all in, certainly I think some people felt like it was a bigger sacrifice than others. It might seem like it's going to hurt. It might seem like it's not worth it. But when we go all in, we actually see, as God has asked for it all, we discover that it is so much more worth it than we realised. Got another verse for you. Romans 8, chapter 8, verse 31 to 32. She does. It says, "What then shall we say in response to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us?" Abraham, if God is for you, who can be against you? Don't worry. Trust me. He who did not spare his own son. Thank you. You guys are doing a wonderful job. You can just keep going to those people, nobody else. Okay? It sucks when you don't go all in with God, okay? I'm just saying. He who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also, along with him, graciously give us everything? And so we don't just have a God who asks for everything. We also have a God who gave everything. And it's really interesting in the story of Abraham, it really makes mention that it's Abraham's one and only son. And you saw it, and then it specifically says, Isaac, just in case anyone's really confused, Abraham, it's your one and only son. And then all of a sudden, when it's talking about Jesus, John 3:16, did you have any pegs on your face? Bad luck. It tells us that God gave his one and only son. So not only does God ask for everything, but he's willing to give everything. It actually takes us all the way back to these great riches. that he's willing to give us a whole lot. We actually understand he doesn't need a bull to be slaughtered. He doesn't need this. He doesn't need that. But everything he gives us, he's the God of creation. Everything is his. The fields are his. It's already his. And so for us to have faith and trust in him, for us to have a relationship with him, we can't just receive his riches. But the challenge is for us to be willing to give them back to him. Because we've got our cars, and we've got our houses, and we've got our chocolate, and we've got our shoes on our feet, and we've got the gifts that we gave our mothers. Mothers, we might be sitting there today going, oh gosh, I'm so blessed with the kids that I've got and the people around me and the life that I've got. The challenge for us is with the riches he's given us is to give them back to him. Because they were his in the first place. But by doing that, we're putting our trust in him, our faith in him. If we can only give him a little, it only shows that we've only got faith in a little or trust in a little. If we can give him everything, then he knows that he's got our whole faith and our whole trust. Can I have that sheet back? Thank you. So sometimes to gain the real riches, we've got to let go of the things that actually aren't quite as good. Because then we'll get things like the Spirit of the Lord. When we actually surrender everything. Just as Abraham, the only way Abraham could get the riches of the promise that God gave him was to be willing to surrender it all. And then we might have relationship with the God who created everything. Then we might know true joy, life everlasting, real love, even money. And it was actually my example that actually in the idea of tithing, or if you want to talk about first fruits or where we're challenged to give something back to God because we realize that it came from him first. And by doing that with our finances, it's showing God that actually we recognize that I didn't make this work, I didn't work this money, but you actually provided for me. And by acknowledging that, I'm going to give some back to you because it's come from you anyway. C.S. Lewis, now I've changed this quote slightly because of some of our audience. C.S. Lewis said this: "We are half-hearted creatures fooling about with drink and ambition and other fun things when infinite joy is offered us. Like an ignorant child who wants to go on making mud pies in a slum because he can't imagine what is meant by the offer of a holiday at the sea. We are far too easily pleased." Sometimes God asks things from us, because we don't realize that he's got something even better for us. So, we're going to have a chance for communion. We're going to have a song play. You can take as long as you like. You can stand and sing. You can sit and sing. We've got stations around the room. Ruben and Tilly, are you guys going to have some communion this morning? Maybe. And I want to encourage and challenge you as you go to take and eat and drink, all or nothing. The Jesus who died on the cross, who went all in for us, as we go to take the stuff, consider, are you going to go all in? Are you going to continue to go all in? Are you going to make the choice for the first time to go all in with Jesus? if you want to come and find me later on for prayer, or if there's some things in today that you're going, oh, I don't know about that, come and talk to me and maybe we can pray together. So the song's going to start, and when you're ready, you can take communion in one of those 3 spots.
I love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me. And all my days I've been held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You will lead me through the fire, and in darkest night you were close like no other. I've known you as a father, I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God, yeah. And all my life you have been faithful. Oh, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God, yeah. 'Cause your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Well, your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. 'Cause your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Oh, 'cause your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. 'Cause your goodness is running, it keeps running after me. And all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I'm gonna sing of the goodness of God. I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna sing. Oh, 'cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able,
Now, unfortunately, this morning, our NDK Centre Director has woken up unwell, hasn't been able to come because she was going to share some reflections and some things that we can be praying for and celebrating as we pray. So, unfortunately, she couldn't come this morning, but we're going to organise another time, perhaps next week or whenever she's able to come next. But be praying for Shari as she's not well. I had the sincere pleasure, though, this week, just as some people in our wider NewDay community aren't going too well at the moment, chatting to one of the dads at NDK and hearing some of the burden that they've got and just saying, well, listen, mate, if with your permission, is it all right? Can we be praying for you as a church? Can we be sharing this with the people around me and we be praying for you? And that would be amazing. And so we continue to just be able to be the church for these people. And so I look forward to having Shari come and be able to share a bit more of the stories, her reflections as she's well and truly got underway in her role as Centre Director. Just to correct myself from earlier, the Illawarra Gathered Worship Night is not next Sunday, it's the Sunday after, it's the 28th, getting ahead of myself. We're going to close with a song to finish and celebrate that hopefully we've come out the other end of this topic of the God who needs nothing but asks for everything, and despite that big cost, that we can be glad, we can celebrate that we have this big God beside us in relationship and seeking to bless us with so much. So would you stand with us as we're going to finish off and we're going to sing Be Glad.
Rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day the Lord has made. Oh, I will rejoice and be glad in it. He brought us from mourning to dancing, from glory to glory. This is the day the Lord has made. So what are we waiting for? La 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 la. Come on and praise the Lord. La 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 la. Hear the word of the Lord. There's freedom for the captive. And good news to the poor. And beauty for the ashes. So what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Hey! This is the day the Lord has made. Oh, I will rejoice and be glad in it. rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day the Lord has made. Oh, I will rejoice and be glad in it. Hey, this is the day the Lord has made. Oh, I will rejoice and be glad in it. He brought us from morning to dancing, from glory to glory, from morning to dancing, from glory to glory, from morning to dancing, from glory to glory. This is the day the Lord has made. So what are we waiting for? La 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 la. Come on and praise the Lord. La 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 la. What are we waiting for? La 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 la. Come on and praise the Lord. Oh, praise the Lord.
Next week, the last week of our Christianity Makes No Sense series, and we're looking at the God who is actively inactive. Should be a good one to finish with. Jam is back on next week. Photos are ready. Coffee is warming up. Have a great morning.